Good morning, students. So, today our topic is meaning of inclusive education, definitions and principles of inclusive education. What is inclusion? Why inclusion? Inclusion is a philosophy. It is a philosophy which embraces the idea that everyone has something of value to contribute and that everyone has the right to belong. Inclusion is a philosophy which embraces the idea that everyone has something of value to contribute to society. Everyone has the right to belong. So, this is a philosophy which believes that every one of us, each one of us, has something of value to contribute to this society. So, inclusion in education is based on the belief that every child can learn. It is based on the belief that every child can learn, realize his or her full potential if provided equal opportunities to participate in school, supported with resources required as per condition, and taught in a manner appropriate to their needs. So, this philosophy is based on the belief that every child can learn. They can realize his or her full potential if they are provided with equal opportunities to participate in school and supported with resources required as per condition and taught in a manner appropriate to a child's need. Ideally, a child must receive education in an environment that is the least restrictive and is most conducive to his or her needs so that they can learn. This means that general education is the placement of first choice for all, wherein a child with disabilities is with her or his peers without disabilities to the maximum degree possible. Such an education is called inclusive education. Listen again, understand it. Ideally, what we say, a child must receive education in an environment that is the least restrictive, where they are free to learn, they are free to understand, they are free to ask questions, they are not under fear that I am not allowed to ask, I am not allowed to participate. It is not like that. They must receive education in an environment that is the least restrictive and is most conducive to a child's needs. This means that general education is the placement of first choice for all, wherein a child with disabilities is with his or her peers without disabilities to the maximum degree possible. Such an education is called inclusive education. It is the most effective and equitable of the various models of education for the overall growth and development of all children in both curricular and co-curricular domains. Children studying in an inclusive school develop confidence, embed values of sharing and participation. Thus, inclusion is a basic human right and not a privilege given to a particular child. No, it is a basic human right that every child is entitled to receive education, that it is his or her basic right, basic human right, and not a privilege given to any student, given to any student or a child, given to a particular child. Throughout the 19th century, children with special needs were institutionalized or segregated or discriminated. The term inclusive education appeared in literature in the late 1980s as an alternative to special education. So, throughout the 19th century, children with special needs were institutionalized. Means special schools were set up, separate schools for such children, segregated, discriminated. So the term inclusion, inclusive education appeared in the literature in the late 1980s as an alternative to special education to give access to children with special needs coming from diverse backgrounds. To give access to children with special needs coming from diverse backgrounds. Earlier, children with disabilities were considered as uneducable and generally they were unacceptable by majority of people who were not disabled. And it was believed that they require special setups for education. And there was hardly any societal acceptance, as I just said. There was hardly any acceptance for such children in regular schools. So, special education was introduced for those who did not fit the normal rigid system, and terms like congenital disabilities, inabilities, low IQ, stupid, moron, etc., were introduced and justified with the help of medical and neurological sciences. Exclusive education systems were built across world and the term disabilities for a large number of children was artificially manufactured. Now, concept of inclusion or meaning of inclusion. The concept of inclusion first gained recognition in Canada. Remember, it first gained recognition in Canada, followed by the USA and Great Britain. In India, the Government of India launched the Integrated Education for Disabled Children. Remember, in India, the Government of India launched the Integrated Education for Disabled Children (IEDC), which was known as IEDC program in 1947. IEDC program was launched in 1947 by the Government of India. So this was the first formal step towards inclusion. In fact, even as early as 1966, the Kothari Commission also highlighted the importance of educating children with disabilities in regular schools. The Salamanca Statement, UNESCO 1994, for action on special education needs, has been identified as the international breakthrough for inclusion leading to a paradigm shift in education. To understand inclusion, it is important to acknowledge that each child is unique. So, to understand inclusion, it is important to understand or to acknowledge that each child is unique and they all have something of value to contribute to this society. So, they are unique in different ways. Each child is unique in terms of physical ability and mental capacity and has a preferential learning style. One student might prefer this way, other can prefer that way. So, has a preferential learning style that they prefer to learn this way. Each human being responds to her or his experience and environment in his or her own individual way. Diversity refers to this range of human differences, including differences in race, ethnicity, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, social class, physical ability, or attributes, regional or ethical values, nationally, political beliefs, and disabilities. Inclusion aims at bringing all children. Inclusion aims at bringing all these children with their disabilities and needs, with their different abilities and needs together to learn under one roof. The basic philosophy of inclusion is based upon addressing this diversity present in learning environments that are effective and beneficial for all. Inclusion is involvement. Inclusion is empowerment. Inclusion is involvement and empowerment, where the inherent worth and dignity of all learners is recognized. An inclusive learning environment promotes and sustains a sense of belonging. It values and practices respect for the talents, beliefs, backgrounds, and ways of living of its members. So, inclusion is a sense of belonging. Inclusion is about feeling respected. Inclusion is being valued for who you are. It is not criticizing, it is not fighting, it is not looking down upon your peer group, upon your friends that they are suffering from some, if they are suffering from some disability. So it is being valued, it is being respected, feeling a level of supportive energy and commitment from others so that you can do your best work, so that you can perform effectively, so that you can do your best, you can give your best.